Yes, this is Shaun Holmes, originally from Lowestoft, now based in Norwich. Run a small team called Holmes Racing, a father and son team. Began racing by accident, really. It's a gentleman friend of mine asked for a ride in this nice green car here, and commented that I could drive quite fast and quite well. Why didn't I start racing? So I joined the SRGT challenge and did my first race at Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit in 2011. How long have I been racing? I've been racing since 2011, on and off. This is my work. Basically I work away, so I don't get to all the meetings. I get to as many as I possibly can. Sometimes race for a different series, just to keep some track time. So yes, it's an on-off affair. Hopefully when I retire, I can spend a bit more time racing rather than having to work. My first racing experience was at Silverstone with the SRGT challenge. In an illustrious company with a Porsche 917, Jaguar D-types. I was asked to race with the MGC, which is a GTS replica. Quite powerful, 300 horsepower, fuel injected. And it was an interesting race. Started off more or less at the back and tried to enjoy myself, take advice from the senior racers, and finished the race, fortunately, safe and sound, and enjoyed it very much, and carried on racing after that. Yes, loads of trophies. This year, or last year, I actually managed to get the Class C championship for the Peter Best challenge. So it was a good achievement. In my really second year in racing, full time. I have a few other trophies. One of which is the driver of the day or driver of the race, which either bodes well or not, whether you've made a fool of yourself or whether you've driven well, that you get driver of the race. And I've had a couple of those, which is nice. What influenced me to go into this particular class of car or type of car? When I was young, obviously first married, we had no money, and I had to sell my trusted little car to buy the house. After that, when I managed to get some more money, I bought an MGB many years ago, not knowing what it was, really, but I just loved it. It was an MGB Roadster. My first son and I and the wife used to go out in it, enjoy it very much, and I've always loved MGBs since. So I've had a love affair with MGCs since 1979. I always wanted one, and now I have a number of them in the garage. Yes, for the upcoming weekend at Mallory, unfortunately my main race car, the green CGTS, which is an MGC straight 6 engine. Unfortunately at Silverstone we lost oil pressure to the engine, so rather than damage the engine further, I have a spare car, which is my son's car, so I'm borrowing that for the weekend, and we're going to race that one, which is a white MGC Roadster.
4:05 a.m. It's the morning of the race, Sunday the 3rd of July 2016. Shaun is all packed up and we're ready to hit the road. We are on our way to Mallory Park where the competition is taking place. It's a 3-hour trip from Norwich to Leicester, and Steve, Shaun's best friend and business partner, is tagging along. While Shaun focuses on the race, Steve will be handling all the mechanical work.
What do? Well, I actually work in printing for a living, but my passion is MGCs, and has been for about 30 odd years. So I'm actually quite well known in the MGC frat, as we call it in the world of MGCs, the parts I make. Yeah, and I've worked at a few good garages repairing them, repair cars, those. And I've been around those for 30 years now, so I think I know what I'm doing. I think. I met Shaun about 5 or 6 years ago. He came to my house with Connor and bought some parts off me, and he was quite amazed at the amount of spares I had in the house. Well, I'm a bachelor. I was living as a bachelor, so I just filled the house up with car parts and garages full of it everywhere. He was quite surprised by what I had in the house, and we just became buddies over things. Yeah, so that's the love of the cars. That's what it's all about. The friendship, the comradeship. Yeah, it's good. The MGC market is quite a small knit community, and that, so you have to be a bit, you can't sort of tread on anybody's toes and that. I mean, there's a couple of other people up south who specialise in car parts, making stuff, and Shaun as much, and we all sort of get on really, really well together and that, because it's just such a small market. There's only about 4,000 cars worldwide left. We think there's about 4,000 left worldwide on the road. So it's such a small knit. You've got to be so, you've got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You've got to be very friendly. You can't sort of, go away, I don't want your business or that. You have to, you have to be a bit open and transparent when you're dealing with these cars now. Because it's such a small market. It's not like like the MGB, they made 500,000 cars. With these, they made 9,000. We only reckon there's about 4,000 left running in the world. Shaun and I sell stuff all over. Shaun's now getting into sort of selling spares and selling stuff in America, which is great, because he buys it off of me anyhow. So, his deal is my deal because he buy it off of me. So, yeah, that's what I mean. I give him a discount, he gives me a discount, or we do stuff together, make stuff together. So it's like, that's what you got to do,
Welcome to Mallory Park, the friendly circuit, an iconic motorsports venue nestled in the heart of the Leicestershire countryside. Mallory Park has a rich racing heritage and an adrenaline-fueled future. For every competition, the typical race day starts with the signing on process. All the drivers queue up to sign in their cars.
So that's the signing on. We take this to the scrutineer bay, and then they check the car over to make it safe, sign this, and then I get a little ticket, and away we go. We're ready to race.
The job of the scrutineer is to make sure everything in your car is in order, starting from your brake lights, your body suit, your helmet, your car boots, your shoes, your hand gloves, and your engines. We're back from the scrutineer's bay, but I don't think we're ready to race. It appears Shaun's car is in need of minor repairs. While he's at it, let's go talk to a flag marshal.
I've been a marshal for about 10 years now. This is not my permanent job. I volunteer to do this at weekends when I can. Right, the green flag we use at the start of a session, and it is shown on the lap before the start of the race. They have the yellow flag. This is shown if there's an incident just past this post. I show the yellow flag. If there's the track is a car stranded on the track, or there's marshals working on the car, the driver's trying to get out of the car, there's 2 yellow flags which should be waved at the same time. If there is a competitor about to be overtaken, or a driver's coming up close behind him, there's a stationary blue flag. If the driver is overtaking, then it is waved. The white flag is shown if there is a slow moving vehicle on the track, or a breakdown vehicle or rescue unit. The red and yellow flag, this is shown if there is a change in the track surface. And lastly, the red flag, which we don't like to show very much, is the race has been stopped because usually a vehicle in a dangerous position, and or there's been an incident, and this brings the race to a stop straight away. Well, we can only use this flag if it is authorised from race control, because they are the ones who say the race has to be stopped. Occasionally we use it, but try not to if we can keep the races going.
Thanks, Dave. Let's get back to Shaun and find out the progress report. Shaun's car is still undergoing some minor repairs. It appears he's still not ready to race, so why not head up to the race control to continue our findings?
Well, good afternoon. This is race control at Mallory Park, July the 3rd, MG Car Club running a race meeting here. Currently out on circuit is the Peter Best Insurance Challenge, and the race has now been underway for some 10 minutes or so. Race control operates both on telephone calls from the observers and also on radio for everybody else. We have some 20 cars out on circuit at this point in time. So, as you can hear, the radio calls coming in from observers recording various incidents. It's a high pressure situation. We've just had a major incident with one driver being taken to the hospital, and as usual the team here reacted immediately, and everything should be okay. You have the timekeeping office. All of the cars out on circuit have a transponder which triggers across the start-finish line to identify them, and they are producing lap by lap, second by second, up-to-date information, and at the end of the race we'll produce a result sheet for us which, when verified, will be issued to the competitors, and in the case of championships is used to decide the allocation of the points for the overall championship year. MG Car Club's running some 9 races here over this day, today, Sunday, and fortunately the weather's fine, so why don't you come and join us sometime?
Paddock attention, paddock. Competitors for the Elite GTS Race 4 to the assembly area now, please. That's competitors for the Elite GTS Race 4 to the assembly area now. Thank you.
That's your call, Shaun. Let's hope the car is ready this time.
That's working, excellent.
Car seems to be in order and responding properly, so it's time to gear up.
It's a neck brace, it's a HANS device. Stops your head from going forward. So you put that to your helmet and your head won't go forward. If you have an accident, your head can go forward and do damage to your neck.
This is the Peter Best Insurance MG Car Club Challenge. 21 cars, all queued up and ready to race. The cars are filing out from the assembly area, and Shaun seems to be starting out from the back.
And there are others who will
Pick up the pace, Shaun. You need to catch up. You're being left behind. Thumbs up, Shaun. You seem to be moving up the race. Where's Shaun? Oh, there he is. We won't be going on with the trophy today, that's for sure. The information just reaching us now is that Shaun is out of the race.
No oil! Actually, we fixed it for him, Steve. Now then, radio on him, Steve.
One of the first ones we sold.
What do we have here? We have a car that don't need oil.
Yeah, basically no brakes. Brakes have gone on it. Pedals gone down to the floor clearly. So in safety we just come in, keep out of the way of everybody else. Nothing we can do. So that's the end of the day, unfortunately. That's racing for us. Okay, basically you have several safety devices on the car. First thing is obviously your electrics. Switch your electrics on. That's an isolator. See the bit of wire that holds it. If, heaven forbid, there's an accident, that the steward can stop the electrical circuits by pulling the outside handle. That will cut off all electrics. We have a oil temperature gauge, which is important to make sure that the oil temperature remains within its parameters. Water temperature, again, make sure that we don't lose water and cook the engine. Oil pressure. This car obviously we've lost oil pressure, but normally it would be running around about 60 psi. The steering wheel comes off in your hand. You have to get out quickly. You're supposed to be able to get out of this car within 5 seconds of an accident. We have a full harness, safety harness, which is a 4-point harness. Again, it's all checked to be in date by the FIA. It's checked at every meeting, so the scrutineers will check the harness to make sure it's secure, it's in date, and it's appropriate for the racing that you're doing. Inside we also have the crash bar for the roll cage. This is a welded and bolted in roll cage. If the car should turn over, the structural integrity of this will stop the car being crushed onto the driver.